I think it says it's live. I hope it is. How are you doing, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, all the moderators and everyone that participates in the chat. Thank all of y'all. Appreciate it. And, you know, that just shows how much favor is abounding. Speaking of favor, I just speak favor over all of us, and nothing missing, nothing broken be in your lives. So, hello, everybody. Hello, David Barry 75. How are you doing, my friend? There's Kent. There's Miss Lois, Cajun Queen Tarot, and Troy, and Nina the Mystic. How are you, my dear? Sent you out an email this week. Higher Realms. Big Al. Hey, so glad we got Big Al amongst us here. David Castle and Eyes of the Maelstrom B3. Robert V. Hey, I saw you on Brian's channel there. Lost in Space. Hello, Kent. Good to see you. Great Scott. Kaylee and James and Angie. There's a song there. Lynn's, good to see you. And T.W. Witten, hello. Joyce, hello. Are you serious? Chloe, good to see you. And Bernadette. Wow, lots of people here. Miriam from over there. Miriam, I think is it Norway? I think I may be right. Could be wrong. Who knows? Max, good to see you. And Jerry and Lucky Stone, hello. Wow, Divine Empress, and then the list just goes on and on and on. So, happy birthday to all those who are having one. And want to give a shout out to Miss Franny. Franny has been in college and is actually graduating in 2 weeks. Way to go, Franny. Way to do it. Proud of you, girl. Rock and roll. That's how you have to approach it. And man, there's just so many good things going on, even in the midst of what can be considered to be not so joyful of times. Even the subject that we're going to be talking about, as sometimes as heavy as it is, and it may not be one of the most popular, it's something that I think will remind us all how much humanity really means, you know, the good side of it. Got my garden in and it was a blast. Enjoyed that. And so now let's just bring on the good weather. We'll see. Been doing some reading in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Wow, this is an interesting read. I don't know. When you compare this to the Egyptian Book of the Day, it's day and night. This one, it's for me, it's just there's something more that I can actually relate to far more than I can on the Egyptian side of the equation. And we're going to get into some of the reading on this. This is a cool book. It really is. I enjoy it. So I don't know. Planting, let's see. Bree says planting your garden too. Yeah. Just reading some of the things. So Monday, I didn't get to do this last week because I was busily taking care of business. Thank you, Bachman Turner Overdrive. So let's read it. I'll tell you, I was in a situation where the other party literally said, with most other people, this would not have been a good outcome. But for you, and the person said, it is a most favorable outcome. And I grinned and said, yes, I know. Yes. How do we know? Because we speak this over our lives. All these favors will come upon me and overtake me if I give voice to them each day. Lucky Stone puts his name in there. All these favors will come upon me, R. Wayne Steiger. Put your own name in there. Favor will be with me in the city. Favor will be with me in the country. Let's just start. Will come upon me and overtake me if I give voice to these each day. Favor will heal my body when I speak favor into my body. I hope you're doing it every morning. I do. Favor will set apart my children, my animals, and my ground is favored with abundance of joy. A lot of people could use some joy today. Favor will be on my food, my water, my pantry, my life force. Oh, yeah. Favor will walk with me when I come in, and favor will walk with me when I go out. Favor will cause all my enemies to be at peace with me. Excuse me. Favor will be upon my barns and storehouses, where I keep my valuables to prosper and be in safety. Favor will be upon me in everything I undertake. Everything I set my hand to, favor shall cause it to prosper. Favor shall be upon all my material property and shall cause it to last longer and not break. Favor shall protect me, my offspring, my possessions from calamity. Favor will lead me to good fortune in all things, even in pandemics. Favor will cause me to be the head, not the tail. Favor will cause me to come out on top and not beneath. Favor will cause me to always be above and not below. Favor will cause me to have favor with the elements. Favor will cause me to be favored with the spirit realm. Favor will cause me to be favorable to everyone I meet. They will see me with favor. Favor will seek me out, and it will overtake me and abide with me, not only in this life, but in the lives to come. And no weapon of any kind shall harm me, nor will it prosper. It will be created in my words, and what was said has been done. So I like that. I really do. It's pretty, it works. I see it in my life all the time. Cheers, everyone. So, yeah. And by the way, I hope that we haven't finished with it, but the confession that I call to acquiring youth of the body, youth of the soul, youth of the mind. This is called From the Teachings of the Masters of the East. Practice acquiring the consciousness of childhood. Visualize the divine child within. Don't know how many of you are still doing it. I love this because each in the morning, it's amazing. It's one of those things that once you develop your faith in anything, even yourself, nothing can stop you. So before falling asleep, suggest to your conscious, I now visualize that there is within me a spiritual joy body, ever young, ever beautiful. I have beautiful spiritual mind, eyes, nose, mouth, skin, the body of the divine infant, which now tonight is perfect. Repeat the affirmation and meditate upon it while falling asleep. Upon rising in the morning, speak, well, dear Wayne, there is a divine alchemist within. And then speak, by the spiritual power of these affirmations, during the night, a transmutation takes place in the unfolding from within. The spirit has saturated this spiritual body and spiritual temple. The inner alchemist has caused dead and worn out cells to fall and the gold of the new skin to appear with perpetual health and loveliness. Truly divine love in demonstration is eternal youth. The divine alchemist is within my temple, constantly coining new and beautiful baby cells. The spirit of youth is within my temple, this human form divine, and all is well. Om Sante, Sante, Sante. Oh, yeah. That is worth repeating. I love that. We're going to get back into it. We haven't finished. There's 4 more books behind the one. Why? Because it tells us we have to learn to love ourselves. It goes on to say, I think a kind thought for all the world. May the entire world be happy and blissed. Affirm before taking up the work for the day. Within me, there is a perfect form, the form divine. I am now all that I desire to be. I visualize daily my beautiful being until I breathe it into expression. I am the divine child. All my needs are being now and forever supplied. Learn to thrill yourself and affirm infinite love fills my mind and thrills my body with its perfect life. Make everything bright and beautiful about you. Cultivate a spirit of humor. Enjoy the sunshine. Oh, yeah, yeah. Enjoy the sunshine. Wow. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Good stuff. I hope you're doing it. Hey, if you want that on visualizing the child within you, because it is in you. You know, I look at a picture of myself when I was 10 years old, and I look at it every morning, and it reminds me that this temple, this body, what a temple. And you know, I think sometimes we fail to number one, remind ourselves, but appreciate ourselves that we each have a temple and you're in it. And if you're in a temple, you dwell within a temple, then that means there is something there that's being honored. You. So learn to honor yourself. Learn to be, yeah, there you go, Big Al. Pink's a great color. It's one of my favorite colors. Understand this is a temple and you're the one that's in it. How you treat your temple is really going to define your next life. I'm convinced of that. I am. So you can see it. Some people hate their temples and their temples show it. The body has no sense to be, if the body's not respected, then, you know, why would it respect that which is dwelling within it? Something to think about. Hey, Trina, good to see you. Possession's 9/10 of the law. Trina and I will be on tomorrow. Trina, I think we're going to talk about dreams. People are having weird dreams, they're telling us. So I think we'll talk about that on a second look. Let's check it out for sure. All right, Day? Okay. So what else is going on? I like this. Got such an enlightened group here. We really do. So the other thing about being outside right now, pollen is everywhere. Man, it is. In some places I hear it's really thick. Yeah. Gets to my nose. And then, Trina, you had a dream this morning? Yeah. I had one. I told Lynn about Sunday morning yesterday. It was weird. And I don't know if I was remote viewing, if I was astro traveling or what, but it was the strangest thing. I was in North Korea and I was in this building, very totalitarian. I can even tell you the type of paint. It's that old type of paint that I don't know, many of you remember from the 50s, that it had that particular smell. Anyway. Oh, in Georgia. Oh, yeah. Yep. Hey, Rebecca. Good to see you. When I lived in Atlanta, that pine pollen, it's nuts. I never seen anything like it. I mean, you go to wash your car and it's yellow with that pine. Yeah, I get it. Trina, zombies were involved. How frightening. I think it's going to be a good subject tomorrow. Tune in, everyone. We'll have fun with it. Dreams. Uh, Even the press is saying that people are experiencing intense dreams. Lockdown, shelter in place. All right. So I'm doing this show in remembrance of Grandma Rose. Grandma Rose and her sister Ethel um, were amazing people. Had the privilege. I was dating someone and had the chance to get to meet Rose, get to know her a little bit. And she was a remarkable individual. Um, what they had seen in life, most people couldn't handle it today. She talked about it, wasn't, you know, particularly where she was adverse, um, had the tattoo on her arm, her number. Her sister had a number as well. And it reminded me that life can change very quickly, and political leaders, governments can change on a dime. I think what got me more than anything else, I hate violence. I grew up in violence. I was, you know, beaten, and I know what violence is. I know the psychological impact it has on children and adults. What I've never been able to reconcile is how a people, human beings, can become worse than animals, um, devoid of any empathy. And you can't just merely be so flippant and say, well, that was them. No, them are still us. They were humans. And it's carried with me all my life. Now, Lynn and I went to the Holocaust Museum. When the museums open up again, I would recommend, if you ever get a chance, to go to Washington, D.C., to visit the Holocaust Museum. It's if you're empathic, you have, psychic or latent abilities, the energy in there is so intense. Why wouldn't it be? And it just wasn't the 6 million Jewish men, women, and children that perished. Stalin is estimated to have killed 15 million Russians. There were African Americans. There were gypsies. There was virtually anything that was considered to be, even today, and I dare say, the homeless, the undesirables of society. And we say that that can never happen again. I don't know about that. This week, I think today is the final day, has been what they call Days of Remembrance, that the world stops and remembers the Holocaust. So what I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to tell you right now, is graphic. This one is not monetized because there is a respect here that is due and owed by all of humanity. And it's just not the Holocaust. This represents all of the torture, all of that which humanity doesn't want to speak about, the atrocities that we commit upon one another because of a religion, because of a political or an ideology viewpoint that differs. And so I put this together. I hope that you will take a moment and stop and think as we take this journey. I titled this The Shoes. This is a pair of shoes from a young girl who did not live in Auschwitz. Um, what is evil? How do you define evil? Don't tell me it's the opposite of good. That's a cop-out. And don't tell me that evil is predicated on a religious belief. Tell me what evil is. What is evil for one is good for another. So how do we define it? And what is it? Man wants to so easily brush this off and say, well, it's of a spirit. No, it's us. In this case, the shoes define the evil. Shoes. You know, think about the shoes if you're wearing them right now. When you go out on a celebration, women love shoes. My wife is got lots and lots and lots of shoes. Shoes. Why shoes? Because there was a human being, a spirit, a life force that walked in those shoes. This is the Hall of Shoes. There's a smell. I can smell it. You can't get rid of it. It's something you never forget. These are souls. Shoes. Each one of these shoes represent a person who had hopes, cried, laughed. Maybe was a mother, father, a child playing a ball out into the street. But a shoe tells so much. The thing about these shoes, they weren't voluntarily given up. We abandon shoes. Sometimes we wear them out. Sometimes our feet grow bigger than the shoe itself, and we'll either throw them away or give them away. These shoes were forced away. Each one of these shoes, the person died. Most in a gas chamber. Some by even greater brutality, butchery. And if you've ever visited this museum, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was so overwhelmed, Lynn. A picture invokes so many memories. Lynn and I were overcome with grief, sadness. There is a psychic force that, when it's combined, as these shoes are, it cannot be ignored. Some of these shoes could tell a story that I doubt the world really knows of. They were people. You see, the thing that hits us, it hits us in the area of what we fear. We shrink from this. We don't want the psychic impressions upon us. We don't want to sense it, but that's the trap. Because if you don't say it can never happen to you as a guard. Yeah, it hits you. It hits you hard. Because human beings did this. And the thing that the story that's very seldom told is the horror that led up to these shoes. And it's a horror. You can put your hand on this car, and if you let the energy, you'll hear death. Again, I recommend everyone go because it is a place that you'll never be the same when you leave it. Shoes. And it's just not the shoes. This is the Hall of Memories. Every one of these people died in the concentration camps. And they were just like you and I, living each day, didn't have a part in this. In these bunks, even with the millions of hands that have walked by, there's still an impression there. And if you stop, again, living force beings stayed in these beds. They all carry a story. We must remember, we must never forget that they lived. You're going to be seeing now the pictures of what led to the shoes. Stop and look at these pictures. So which one are you? Which one? Look at the faces. Oh, it's no problem. Take this vaccine. We need to mark you. They just had a different way back then. Sad thing is, they believed that they were safe. But when a society no longer respects even the children, then that society is no longer human. Clothes, shoes hadn't been separated yet. See that building behind there? That's the showers. Yeah. And there were so many clothes, so many shoes, they ran out of places to put them. The standard mode of transportation back then was a bicycle. Millions of bicycles. Clothes, luggage, all piled up. Grandma Rose and her sister Ethel, I believe, was at Dachau. This is Dachau. You notice the mothers holding the babies. You have the men in the striped suits. They were the trustees. They separated the people here, male, female, families. This is how it started. You had to be cleaned. Lice was a problem. Lice, amongst other things. This picture here, I think, shows the contrast. You have the soldiers who show no emotion at all. You have the mothers who are both frightened and yet want to protect their children. And here the children know. You can see in the children's faces more than the parents, the mothers. They sensed it. This was before an execution. Well, the cleansing. The xenon gas was effective. When the Allied soldiers got into, I think this is Auschwitz, maybe Dachau, the crematoriums were all full. They couldn't burn the bodies fast enough. And if anyone ever tells you this never happened, you have to just shake your head. How do you collect tens of thousands of eyeglasses? You need eyeglasses to see. Obviously, these people don't need them anymore. The brutality. More places of mass graves. And folks, this is women and children. Humans did this to each other. Again, the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia in 1978-79, there is a movie called The Killing Fields. It pales in comparison to what happened in World War II, the Holocaust. Killing fields everywhere. There was no, how should we say, mercy. This is what humans do to each other when you have hate, discord. When you show someone else that you inflict pain upon them, or you put a word that you know is hateful. What is hate? You telling me there's different degrees of it? The Allied soldiers that went into these camps were never the same. Yeah, it may be of a naked man, but it's worse. These are the medical experiments. In this case, this is a female that's phosphorus. The horrors that took place in these camps was twofold. They were just merely disposable. These are the ghettos in Poland. Yep, Krakow. That's where a lot of the people came from. This is Himmler. Human? That's the question you have to ask. Our governments are doing the same thing today. We just do it in a much more, how shall we say, sanitized manner. But when human life no longer has any value to a government, a corporation, an ideology, we are literally a hair's breadth from redoing this again. If you were female, young, and you were separated, you were most likely going to the medical wards. I can assure you, before all this started, none of these women ever thought that they would lose everything that they had, including their dignity. How many wedding rings? How many joyful marriages? The celebration of bride and groom reduced to nothing more than the weight of its gold. It's horrible. But folks, we have to remember, because if we don't, piles of burnt skeletons will be the least of our concern. These are the horrors. You see this man in the back wearing the suit? He was a townsperson. Every one of these concentration camps was supported by the city, a town. These are some of the experiments. This was a man who had enough life force. As they said, when I looked at the picture, the camp had been liberated. He got to see it before he passed over. But as the Allied soldiers began to move through the countryside of Poland, Austria, Germany, the killing fields seemed to never stop. Men did this. Human beings supposedly did this. For what? Because you support one candidate over the other? Your ideology is so much greater? This is where that kind of thinking leads to. The shoes. This picture, literally, 30 minutes later, every one of these people were butchered, murdered. Folks, never forget. This is reality. We don't like to think about it, do we? No, it's hard to watch. Many of the soldiers, the Allied soldiers, had mental breakdowns. I can only imagine. Whether the United States knew about this or not, I don't think that even matters anymore. We just need to remember. And I know this is a downer, but folks, it is what apparently our species is capable of. These are the townspeople. One of the things that Eisenhower demanded was every one of the village of people, the towns that supported these camps, that they provide the labor. Each citizen was forced to come in, gather the dead, bury them. This is a prisoner who, this guard had changed uniforms. This prisoner knew him. Most of them were shot pretty much on sight, because by the time the Allies had seen enough of this, what justice do you inflict? These are a squad of British soldiers. These are German, the guards. These are the townspeople, claiming that they had no idea that this was taking place. Yet, how do you ignore? This is a German guard who tried to escape. Here are the townspeople being forced to dig the graves. I think it's fitting. We just can never forget, folks. Every one of these were a human being. And closing our eyes, saying that that can never happen is no excuse. It's the shoes. The shoes. They tell the story. They'll speak to you if you listen. Most people won't listen. We can never forget, folks. Never. I know this is a hard one, but we just can't forget. So, I'm just reading some of the comments. So anyway, folks, it's something, and for me, it was much more personal. In my bloodline, I do have Jewish ancestry, but what made it so personal to me is that I actually knew someone that lived it, that talked about it. And horrors that even back then I couldn't imagine. Some 30 years later, I still can't imagine. And what's happening to us today? It's really interesting because, you know, we're reading this thing about the deep state. And I often wonder, is it, and I know this sounds bizarre, but you know, when you get this into your psyche, you begin to get going, now, wait a minute, why this? Why that? You know, we were reading in the their game plan. And it's real interesting how when we got into the story, you know, where we had found out that all of this is a setup. Now, I don't know what your knowledge is on, you know, geopolitical, World War II, understanding the things, but if you study about how things work, what was happening to the German mark is something that I think we have to be very careful about the US dollar. folks, we are on something here that in fact, I lost my place here. I'm pulling this forward. Excuse me on that. Um, but the economy is what defines a culture, a society, a nation. And when you look at the German economy, I mean, Europe was coming out of the Great Depression like the United States. In fact, if the World War II, had not started, there's a lot of economists who would theorize that it would have been decades for the world economy to ever get back again. And much of what the nationalism, the fascism that started in Europe was due because of what? Their economies. And I bring all this out because it's all related. Whether it's a vaccine, whether it's a pandemic, whether it is the economy. I'm going to get out of here because I feel like more like talking to you than reading. It's something we have to be cautious about. That's all I've got to say, because when people begin to where they can't work, they can't, and most people want to work. You know why? It gives us self-worth. No matter what you do, if you take pride in it, it's because you're good at it. You've practiced at it, and you focus in making your skill sets better. But when you're prevented from that, then discord sets in. And it's a very dangerous thing that we're doing right now. I mean, they shut down this economy, and I am hoping that it can come back. I really am. If that be the case, it will be the miracle of 2020 to see economy crash and then bounce back up to new heights. That's what they're saying. I hope that is the case, because if it isn't, and people can't pay for groceries, utilities, rent. I'm sorry. I can't read those comments that are coming through. Some of them, y'all are good. Y'all are just good. I'll tell you what. Yeah, excuse me. You have to read the comment I saw in there. That was just funny as ever. Quit being a sloth. I love that. That's why, and this is just me. There's going to be an underground economy. It's already here. It's funny. I read a story about a state, and I won't mention the state, that there was a local police force that, hey, Robert, that did this sting thing. I mean, apparently there was like, a half dozen officers all involved in this thing, because they were going to break up this crime that was taking place. You know what the crime was? It was a hairdresser doing ladies' hair. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, they brought in, Aunt Alice's restaurant squad. So anyway, you gotta laugh at some of this, folks, because it's so serious that if you don't, it'll get you into a train of thought. At least with laughter, you can come back and say, yeah, it looks to be a mess, but you know what? Like all messes, it just requires some cleanup. And my whole point to this is it's going to bring forth a barter economy. We've done it. It's amazing what you can do. We just planted our garden. And, no doubt we're going to have a number of things coming in: tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, etc. But particularly with cucumbers, Lynn is really good at canning. I'm learning. I've been watching her enough that, and canning is really cool. I mean, it's a lot of fun to do. It's work, but You know, work is just a state of mind. If you will learn to whistle while you work, your work will become play and you'll be fast how quick the day goes by. So anyway, got off on that. But the point is, it's the economy, folks. And so we're going to continue to learn. Listen, if there is this thing, I posted on another message board. I asked the thought, I said, is God human? And someone wrote to me over the weekend and they said, well, you don't seem to have any fear of demons or evil spirits. How'd you get there? I said, there was a time where, I saw them as, these boogeymen. But the question I've come to ask myself, and it's so versed in me now, I don't even think twice about it. What is a demon? Is it human or isn't it? What's an angel? Is it human or isn't it? If it's not, then that's an alien species to me. And I don't trust any of them. Because if their mindset is to this plus or this negative, well, I don't want anything to do it. We're going to talk tomorrow with Trina. We're going to talk about the Obris. I figured it out, folks. You can break this thing. You don't have to have eaten your tail or chasing your tail. Because when you look at this, it becomes very interesting. Because if they're not a human being, now, if they are human, think about this. So this cat, this dude, we'll just give a hypothetical here, dies, right? Let's say he was an asshole, but we're all assholes. But anyway, he dies. And now he's got this grotesque looking form. Really? I mean, is that what it is? Because if that's the case, folks, we all got to hang it up. So that's why I don't buy into these ghost hunters and, and they got the evil spirits. Listen, are you an alien or are you a human? If you're a human, you're dead. Move on. This is the living. Get your ass out or pay the rent. One of the two. Now, if you pay the rent, you're going to have to sign a roommate's agreement because we got standards. If you're an alien, then get your ass off my planet, because that means when I pass over, I'm going to find you and I'm going to kick your ass for harassing me when I was over here, which tells me there ain't this no heaven and hell business, folks. That's all a trap. It tells me it's probably a lot more wilder than what we think. Hey, I mean, are there demons? Are there evil spirits? Do you believe in angels? And so where does this angel come from? And what does this angel believe in? Because you see, it all gets right back to the Abrahamic mind trap. And if they were before then there is another species out there, which I happen to think when we cross over, many are going to be absolutely freaking shocked. Oh, what do you mean? They're all not humans? What happened here? The bigot society, the John Birch Society of the afterlife, right? No. Folks, I know this is, someone says the Anunnaki. David, you're right. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, I'm telling you, you think about this. It can't be so limited. I mean, if it's strictly positive or negative, that's bullshit, folks, because we experience it here in the living. If you're telling me that that's what's over in the spirit, the afterlife, it never ends then. It's the hubris. If that's what you truly believe, that's why I've come to the conclusion that reincarnation is a bunch. It doesn't add up. If you believe in it, you're going to be eating your tail for all eternity. It's got to be greater than that. It can't be just this mundane, monotonous, good, evil. It's what I asked. Define evil for me. Define good. I'm on a tangent. Yeah, I am. But it's a good one. It's a good one. Because we take this stuff for granted. I post this other thing. I said, so you believe in a God. All right. So what is your God? Your God human or is an alien? Someone wrote, well, it says in the Bible. I don't give a damn what it says in the Bible. You see, that's your problem. You're so weak in the mind that now you have to adapt to another philosophy that you say, well, that's my philosophy. You know, the word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld its glory. So what's up here, baby? I mean, those who know worship God will worship him in spirit. Oh, so he's spirit. What kind of spirit? Is that a human spirit? Or is it an alien spirit? I mean, we got to figure this thing out. So if it's a human spirit, why the hell are you worshiping a human spirit? And if it's an alien spirit, why the hell are you worshiping an alien? Someone says, I don't believe in either. I believe in source. So that's a good point. So what is source? Let's define this. Gina, it's a good point. No, excuse me. Yeah, it's Gina. It's all that. How do we define source? Is it an ambiguous, what? Force field? Or is it the absolute fabric and essence of everything that is? You see, I don't know how you personify that. Well, it's so far above what God could be conceived in the mind of man. Remember, Horatio, there is more to heaven and earth than that which you perceive to be. Brian, that's right. Y'all are going to go there and watch this Higher Mind series. It'll help you in a lot of this because I think we got to break out of this. It's limiting to all of us. And I find myself at times, sometimes in this being, you know, you could say at times frustrated in listening how the mindset is, but I was there. All right, folks, this was a interesting. Thank you for watching. I mean, listen, I know the Holocaust is terrible, and it so was the killing fields, and so is the rest of taking place today. What's happening in South Africa is not right. I hope that government would realize that putting people in camps is not the answer. Putting any human being into a confined area for nothing more because they disagree with your ideology is inhumane. And it makes me to believe that there are those who are born who have no soul. I'm convinced of it. They're soulless ones. I think there's probably more soulless ones amongst the population than those who actually do have a soul, a spirit. I think they're devoid of it. I appreciate you folks. I really do. You're some of the brightest minds. And the thing about it is that when you have that instinctive intuitiveness with an open mind, the impossible becomes normal. And I think that that's where we should be living each day, is the impossible. Because what is the afterlife going to be? If we could start living the impossible here each day, and I don't care if it's a small de minimis portion, because I believe it's accumulative. If we can live one impossibility each day, maybe it's the fact of changing a thought pattern, but believing in the impossibility of our potential individually and together. Boy, if we can rise above that, folks, we'd be a shooting star. That's what we are. All right. Thank you all. Y'all are just the best. Trina and I will be tomorrow. And Brian, I don't know if it's Milky Way Weekly, if it's tonight, but I think it was last night, if I remember right. Thank you, Big Al. Yeah, I'm driving the bus and y'all are doing the maintenance. Folks, laugh, yes, yes. And I always want to say, David Hall, thank you, buddy. I see your comments. He comes in and he puts in there summer of healing. Folks, we need it. We need the summer of healing more than what we've ever needed. You know, 69 may have been the summer of love, but we can make this the summer of healing. I think that, you know, when you look at this now, how many people and their personalities have come under such pressure that they're talking about the schisms and the phobias and the neuroses as a result of this stay in place stuff. The people are losing it. We can change that. You know, we can be that smiling face under that mask. Either way, I'm going to close this out. I know I went over, but I'm going to close this out. A year ago, if you had walked into a bank with a mask on, you'd have had guns pointed at you. You'd gone to prison. Today, you can walk into a bank with a mask on. Folks, it's getting weird out there. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Appreciate it. All right, bye-bye. Oh, tune in tomorrow for a second look. There we go. That's a plug.